Joe, it's been such a great day to be out for a drive, but you know who I think is right up here? It's Steel Rubber. We haven't been there for a while.
Danny and the guys, I love Steel Rubber. You want to stop in?
Yeah, you know, they've always got something new going on. I know they've been working on some additional product lines and that type of thing, and what a great day just to stop in and see what they're doing here at Steel Rubber in Denver, North Carolina. Welcome to this week's Performance TV presented by Top Coat. We are out on the road at Steel Rubber Products in Denver, North Carolina. And Danny, you know, we've had an opportunity to come visit with you guys before, see the facility. And what are you going to show us today?
So we're going to show you a little bit of our manufacturing capabilities, our tooling and our design, how we make the parts, and a little bit of all the new parts that we're doing. We're doing new parts for cars, RVs, boats, hot rods, a little bit of everything.
And you guys are doing everything here in-house, so you have complete quality control.
Like I said, we do our tooling and manufacturing here. We also have proprietary rubber blends that are the top quality that you can do. You know, we use the brass cores, so all that stuff we control, and we can make that part perfect.
Well, you guys have been in business for a very long time. How has Steel Rubber Products grown over the last 60 years?
Well, my grandfather started it in '58. Now we have 70 employees. So we keep growing, we keep adding new things, and it's just been a really great ride.
And I bet because of all of that, you've had some longtime customers.
We do. We have customers that have been with us forever. We have customers talk about, you know, how they had their parts for 20 years and they still look brand new. And today we're going to talk about our customer, David, who has a story with us. He had a 1950 Chieftain for his first car. And one day he noticed, like many guys do, that he had a problem with his trunk rubber. He was getting in water, he was getting in road debris, and he needed a place to fix it, and he didn't know where that was. And he found our ad in a magazine one day, called us up, and found out that we make trunk rubbers just for his car.
Dave's got a real classic here. In fact, I'm a little jealous as a Pontiac guy, but it needs some love on this rear seal. So first thing we had to do was remove the old one, which took a little bit of work because we wanted to spend a lot of time cleaning the mating surface. We got it all cleaned. Danny, what's next?
So now that we got it cleaned, we can go into a test fit of the weather stripping. So this weather strip's a little bit different than normal because it had been installed before on the body, and you can see where it's been dirty. So we cleaned it up. We're going to go ahead and install the trunk weather strip on the body again, and we're going to start with a test fit. So what we're basically doing here is setting the rubber into the channel and making sure that we have the right length that we're wanting to work with.
And if you're going to err on the long side.
Yeah, so what you want to make sure is while you're doing this, you're not pulling it, you're not stretching it. So whenever you come around to a seam, if it needs to expand and grow with temperatures, it's not going to pull that seam.
Excellent. And I can see already how this is going to help the trunk as it closes to seal.
Yeah, and this wants to go on in a particular way. You want the wedge to be facing towards the outside, so it has a place to channel water. And when you're doing this test fit, it makes it real easy. Then you can go back and glue, and you're not messing with a whole roll of stuff.
So once we get the test fit done, we're going to cut it a little bit shorter and then begin the gluing process. Now, for me, this is what saves a car. You want to seal the car, seal the trunk, make sure no weather gets inside. And it is mandatory if you're going to keep a perfectly restored car like this one ready to rock and roll. So we're going to start the install process with the gluing. While we do that, we had a great opportunity to catch up with some Steel Rubber customers who are going to tell us about their cars and Steel Rubber products.
Well, it's a 1956 210. It's a sedan, two-door, and I've had it about 15 years. The last 3 years was like having another full-time job. I had to work on it for about 40 hours a week, other than working my other job. This is a complete frame-off restoration. I touched every bolt and nut and motor and tranny and rear end all the way through. When I got to the rubber, I decided to go with Steel Rubber because of the quality. I'm a Steel Rubber employee, so I wouldn't send nothing out that I wouldn't put on my own car.
Well, we finished our install, and boy, doesn't it look great. It is absolutely perfect, and it's going to keep the back of the Pontiac solid, stable, and the weather out. Plus, we've got these cool bumpers just for the trunk adjustment to make it absolutely perfect. They really offer everything here at Steel Rubber. We've got more Performance TV presented by Top Coat from Steel Rubber coming up after this.
Performance TV, presented by Top Coat, is brought to you by Stealth Performance Products, providing diesel performance solutions. Black Armor Bed Mats, the biggest, baddest truck mat around. RockAuto.com, all the parts your car will ever need. And by Top Coat, advanced coating solutions through innovation and technology.
Welcome back to Performance TV, presented by Top Coat. We're on the production floor here at Steel Rubber, and this is fantastic. Hardworking Americans getting the job done. Now, Danny, a lot of the parts and pieces you guys make here are actually customer requests, correct?
That's right. So all of the parts that we make are made from an original. So we have over 12,000 parts. That's a lot of customers that come to us and say, hey, is this something that you can make? And a lot of times it is. You know, whenever it comes to vent windows like he's got here, or some sort of extrusion for a trunk, we get an original and we can go to our CAD machines and our CAM machines and make something that fits just on that car.
And I understand that RVs are now very popular. People with older RVs are realizing they need seals.
Seals that are on RVs are just like the automotive ones, except a lot of times they're manufactured a little bit cheaper. So there's sometimes where we can get a seal like this that's made for an RV, and it's usually made out of vinyl, and that shrinks, it cracks, but we can make it out of EPDM rubber, which lasts a lot longer. That's like our friend Dave. He had an RV, and everything was going great. He was camping with his family, and then one day he came around to the baggage compartment and realized that water had been getting in the baggage compartment and causing mold and issues, and now he's able to find a seal from our RV catalog to replace that seal for him.
We just saw that David had some problems with pulling out stuff, and things are wet because the seals on this RV, well, they're bad, but those aren't the only ones.
Yeah, all these baggage compartments have gone bad, and it's just something that happens. They're made with cheap rubber to begin with. I mean, you can tell that that's not going to be a good piece.
So once we pull this off, I mean, I still see there's some residue here from the adhesive. Pretty easy to get off?
Yeah, so this is a two-sided tape that they use. This is real easy to get off. So essentially what you're going to do is, just like any install, you're going to want to clean up your edges and make sure you have a nice clean surface to put your new weather strip on. And this new weather strip that we're going to do is a 3M adhesive. It's going to hold a lot stronger than this ever tried to, and it's going to seal up a lot better.
And we've seen how that 3M stuff works. I mean, you can actually put it on something and pick up something heavy with it. I mean, that's some really good stuff. And we're not going to have an issue with, you know, bugs getting in and rainwater and everything else from going down the road as well.
Yeah, it's really going to go a long way. And, you know, we have a lot of parts for these RVs, and all of them are just as easy to install.
Once you put this on here, is it pretty much stuck right away? Is there a certain amount of time you need to wait for it to cure or anything?
So it's pretty much stuck right away.
Okay.
But after 24 hours, the adhesive on here has a really good chance to hold, and that's what's going to be holding it on. I mean, we even have these big slide-out seals. Some of them are held on with adhesive, and they just hold really great. Same with the AC gaskets. We make a one-piece seal for that, and all that stuff is real easy to install and works really well.
Yeah, because you guys have a complete catalog with all kinds of stuff, and if a lot of things as well you can also find in your universal catalog if there's an oddball piece or something.
That's right. So we do have the RV catalog that's made just for RVs. Shows everything you'll need for your baggage compartments, your slide outs, your AC gasket, like I said, and then we have a universal catalog that shows you everything else that we have in case you're working on something weird.
Absolutely perfect. Love this, and so many other customers love what Steel Rubber can do for them. Let's hear from another.
My camper is a Keystone Cougar. I've had it for about 15 years. You go to a campground, everybody's kind of like a family. Just a good, enjoyable time. Just a nice getaway. One of the big problems with campers getting older is that everything starts drying out on it, starts cracking when it starts leaking. All of your seals, from your doors, your storage compartments, your slides, I mean, all the way to your seals that go around your air conditioning units on top. That's the main problem that you have with them. This is some of the camper places sell what comes on the campers from the factory, and they're thinner, they shrink more. When I went to Steel and got some rubber there, it's just a much thicker, much better rubber. They're great to work with. I mean, you can order something online, or I can just walk in the door and go pick it up. Customer service is good. I've enjoyed talking to them, and their product's better than that.
Time now for Top Coat's tips and techniques.
You know what makes Top Coat the greatest coating company in the world is you can use their technology on everything. Like even these older products like this smudge mark here, you don't have that problem with Top Coat. You can literally clean that off and move on to other parts of the car very quickly and efficiently. You can do the paint, the grille. You can even come up here to this pretty decal that's matte and gloss finish. And not only that, Scott's up here doing the convertible top.
Yeah, what's really great is it doesn't matter what you put the product on. You're literally, I mean literally, every square inch, and it's safe. You don't have to worry about damaging anything, hurting anything, you know, as a great example. So on this top, watch this. This is just wonderful because it will help protect this from the sun. It's also extremely hydrophobic. And so it's going to be very water beating. But it's the protection, it's the rejuvenation. That's why we always say, you know, you're enhancing, you're restoring, and you're protecting all with one bottle. Shiny becomes shinier. As an example here, this is one of the really great things on this car in particular, but you got this beautiful red, right? Well, you want that to pop, you want that to jump out. Top Coat will certainly do that. But then you also have this matte denim stripe. Well, any other product on the market, you can't do that because you're going to artificially shine it. Look at that. Look how it just brings that right back. So, Mike, how you doing up there?
And I tell you, it's so fast. And if y'all want to learn more, there's so much more to Top Coat. Go to topcoat.tv.
Boy, David ought to be absolutely elated with all of the replaced seals from Steel Rubber on his camper. And that's just one of the many things that they can do to get this thing right. We'll have more Performance TV presented by Top Coat from here at Steel Rubber right after this. What makes an automatic transmission work properly? First and foremost, the right amount of transmission fluid. And if you start having erratic shifting, like shifting too soon, shifting too late, when you go to drop it into gear, the thing just kind of goes clunk, you might want to crawl underneath the hood and check the transmission fluid. And Joe, if you would fire this up for me, because when you check the transmission fluid, it's a little different than doing the oil. You need to have it running, so that way it's flowing through all the little nooks and crannies in the transmission. And every dipstick is going to have a little bit different indicator. This one has add, cold, and hot. And you also kind of want to give it a little bit of a smell because burnt transmission fluid is not a good thing, and you'll definitely know by the smell of it. Well, this one has the proper amount in. If you were to need to add some, you're going to need a special funnel, unlike what you would use for oil, something that's going to fit to go down the dipstick tube. Top it off, run it through the gears, put it back into park, check it again, and make sure that you have the proper level for the proper shifting.
We're here in the machine shop at Steel Rubber. Now, Danny, you guys have got the car market pretty much cornered, but now you guys are expanding into the marine industry. Tell us.
Yeah, we've got parts that are made specifically for boats now. You know, there's parts on the hatches and the different compartments that are on boats, and our customers have asked for them, and now we make them.
And obviously, the water, ocean, salt water, very tough on all of those parts.
Yeah, so we make it out of EPDM rubber, which is very resistant to UV, ozone, all those marine environments that you'll find, salt water. So it's going to last a real long time and protect the vessel.
And it starts out here in the machine shop. You've got to make the parts that actually make the parts.
Right, so a customer will send in a part and say, hey, is this something that you can make? Let us know what kind of boat it's on. And it's something that we can usually do, and it's actually found on many boats in most cases.
And I see everybody at work designing, cutting, making. This is what it's all about.
Yeah, we do our CAD and CAM here. We do our own tooling. We got the CNC machines and the milling machines, so we're able to make the tools that make the parts. Then we have our customer, Dave, who was needing to replace a rub rail on his boat. And since it's vinyl, it's shrunk and it's starting to fall out of where it was. So now that we can make a part that's just for the rub rails out of EPDM rubber, and it can be installed very easily and will last even longer.
Well, we can tell that the rub rail that we have from our pontoon, it's shrinking, it's brittle, and it's just no good, Danny. But you guys here at Steel Rubber also have products for boats and marine and so much more.
That's right. We're making products that are just for these boats. You know, the rub rails in particular often need replacing because they shrink. They're actually made of vinyl.
Yeah, I mean, it's no good.
You can go ahead and remove the rest.
All right, let me just go ahead and get it out of the way.
So this is going to go on basically just the way it came off there. It's just tucked in. So essentially all you do is line up one edge and then tuck the other side in.
Well, I can tell there's a big difference in the quality of the material that we are installing from Steel Rubber compared to what I just pulled off.
Yeah, so this is rubber, it's 100% EPDM. So it's going to be weather resistant, UV resistant, ozone resistant. It's not going to shrink, crack, fade, and it's going to protect this boat a lot longer than this would have.
Yeah, because we really don't want to be doing this all the time.
No, it's not a difficult job. We make this out of 80 durometer, so it's a bit harder than our normal rubber, but it's designed to take those impacts and take those scuffs. It's a crucial component. I mean, they fall off, they get tangled, they get left in the water, it's litter, so, you know, it's just not a good situation.
And not just the rub rail for a pontoon like we have here, but Danny, in addition to other catalogs that you have at Steel Rubber, you have those as well for our marine stuff.
That's right, we make a catalog that's just for the marine stuff, so all the rub rails are in there, as well as all the rubber you might find on glass that's specific to boats, or the hatches, or the portholes, depending on the kind of boat that you have. So that catalog, and we even have a special website that's designed just for the marine stuff.
And there you go. Any particular tips that you want to think about depending on what the temperature is or anything?
Well, I'll tell you, it's a little cold now, and it's a little bit hard, but the other stuff, you have to have a heat gun even in the summer because it's vinyl. So either way, this is going to be easier to install.
Well, you know what? We have heard from so many very happy customers from Steel Rubber. What do you say? We hear from another.
So we've had this boat a number of years. We live on the water, so it stays in all the time. It's a fun boat, but a lot of the elements, the sun, the water, the storms, etc., actually have taken sort of a toll on a couple of parts we've had to replace. You pay a lot for a boat, and you really want to put time in to keep the finishes looking good, and the rubber grommet that goes around the boat has been shrinking, popping out, not staying in. Actually, some of the loops that have stuck out are a little bit dangerous. You might try to step off the boat and catch your foot and fall. So we've been worried about it for a while, but it's not really an option to pull it off the boat. You really need it for protection. As you come in and park the boat, you'll occasionally bump into a pier or flotation devices, etc. And with that rubber there, it actually keeps you from bending to some of the aluminum or making the boat look bad. I found out about Steel Rubber through a friend, and I figured that they either have it or they don't have it. You're either in luck or out of luck. So for them to come out and look at the part, take a piece of it back, and actually make the part from scratch and make sure that it worked on the boat was pretty amazing. Looks like $1 million. I'm very pleased, and I couldn't ask for anything more.
Wow, what a difference this rub rail makes from Steel Rubber on our pontoon. This thing is going to last a long time and definitely be able to take a beating without on the water and all of the elements. You know, we have a whole lot more coming here from Steel Rubber. We'll have more Performance TV presented by Top Coat right after this.
Performance TV, presented by Top Coat, is brought to you by Stage 8 Fasteners, home of the world's best locking header bolt, proudly made in the USA. Go to stage8.com. Borla, the world's most winning exhaust. Magic Creeper, the most versatile creeper ever. And by Armageddon Turbo Systems. Get the power you've always wanted.
Welcome back to Performance TV, presented by Top Coat, continuing our visit here with Steel Rubber. And Danny, we have made our way back to this whole big wall of, what do you call these?
These are extrusions. So they're going to come out of some machines like a glorified Play-Doh machine. So we have, as you can see, hundreds of extrusions. These are the pieces that make up the weather stripping that goes on the windshield gaskets and the door weather strips.
Right, you see all different shapes and sizes, some the small as a grain of rice or whatever. I mean, these are really detailed pieces.
Yeah, and they're designed normally for specific use, but we also have a whole line that's just for a universal type application.
And not only what we see here, but you guys have all of the different manuals covering many, many years and makes and models of vehicles. You can go back and study the parts.
Yeah, this is sort of our research area that we're in. We have a library of all the original parts books that help us get all the information that we need on a part.
And now the little pieces here, but we also see some other ones hanging on the wall. I mean, your research is just extensive to make sure that you're doing it right. And that's why there are so many extremely happy customers that have been dealing for many years with Steel Rubber.
I went to a car show, and there was a lot of cars for sale. And wanted something a little zippy, so we found this one and put a few hours in on it and done this and done that and got a car out of it. rods. These are probably the most popular of all the old hot rods, the 32. That's what everybody likes. Had to do some rewiring. The engine wasn't very good. It blew up already, so that's another motor in there. Just basically going through everything and making it right. The hardest thing about an old car is finding the right parts. You have to search the flea markets and search areas where there are old cars and stuff. It's hard to find them. Rubber parts for like the doors and the trunk and stuff, you can either find them or buy them. I decided to go with steel rubber because I think they hold up better, they last longer. And I'd heard from other car owners that if they didn't have it, they could make it for you. It looks real good. The rubber's got good color to it, it stays put, doesn't come loose. Different people will ask you, well, where'd you buy the material you put on your car?
Problem is, they got a little bit of wind noise, and how do we figure that out, Danny? Like solving whether or not we need seals?
So to see if it's a seal that's an issue, you can try the dollar bill test. You take a dollar bill, close it in the jam, and if you can move the dollar bill like that, you do not have a positive seal. So to test what size your door jam is, like on that hot rod where there wasn't any weather stripping to begin with, you can take a little piece of silly putty, put it right in the door jam, and then you have a mold of exactly how thick that jam is, so you can find a weather strip that'll seal it up and stop all that wind noise.
Wow, that's perfect, and we get to play with silly putty. But I really wonder, what is our friend doing now? Yeah.
Nice.
Love that guy.
You sell tires too or something?
Hey, with customers like him, we should.
Well, thanks for having us go through everything and all the new stuff you're doing here at Steel Rubber.
Well, we really appreciate y'all coming by. We always like showing what we're doing new, and we love hearing from our customers what they're doing.
Definitely improving the car culture, and seals, it's a very big deal. It's very important.
Well, thank you.
Cars, RVs, boats, doing it all here at Steel Rubber. And we're going to do a whole lot more coming up next week on Performance TV. We'll see you then.
He really lit it up.
Yeah, he did.
If you've got a product you'd like featured on our show, email sponsors@masterstv.com.